So today we're going to be working on the 318 Ti. Since it does have an M50 swap and it was done very quick, I'm going to be doing one of the most important, but not necessarily the most fun thing to do with any swapped car, and that is cable management, at least in the engine bay right now. So if you take a look, there's wires all over the place. Most of them have broken connectors, or they're just nonsense. They're just junk. Just need to go. And especially since this is a swapped car, a lot of the stuff's not the same. Like this radiator I have, it has a different pin out than the factory harness. So I'm going to be splicing that together so I don't have to run this anymore and get rid of the gauge pod that I have in my car. So this was out of my 240. It literally just slapped it in here real quick just so I could make sure I kept an eye on coolant. And because this is a 98 OBD2 car and the engine is OBD1, there's a lot of just extra stuff that I just did quick bypasses on so I didn't have to deal with it, just so I could get the car on the road. But now it's time to finally address those and clean everything up. I mean, right there, that ground's not even bolted on. That could have caused a problem. This ground over here, that's not even bolted on. I mean, it was just slapped together so I could get the car on the road. So I'm gonna dive into that and just start cleaning everything up. Luckily, I have multiple other E36s here, all from different years, and other TIs that I can compare everything so I can figure out what it is. I mean, most of the stuff was unplugged when I bought the car because it was halfway parted out when I got it. So it's going to be fun trying to figure out what's what and repairing all this stuff, like this wire right here. And the big thing too is I'm going to get rid of the wires that I don't need anymore, but I'm going to make sure to keep and tuck away the wires that I don't need right now but will eventually need, such as the windshield washer plugs. Yeah, the windshield washer plugs, because even though I don't need that right now, I don't really care because this was a track build. It would be nice to be able to add that back in the future. Same with AC stuff. I mean, I'm not sure if M50 AC components will match up with 318 Ti AC components, but it would be nice to have that option in the future. So, something that I preach, something that I learned the hard way with my 240, when you start a project, especially a swap, don't delete stuff that you don't have to. Because there's so much stuff I got rid of on there I wish I would have kept now that I'm older, but if you can find a way to just tuck it out of the way so that it's still there, or even just keep the parts so you can put them back in, I highly suggest it, because then you're not going to have to be chasing after all these other issues. Like if I snip these wires for the windshield washer fluid, that's going to be a nightmare to try to figure all that out 2-3 years down the road, where if I just find it tucked away and just plug it right in. So that's something that I definitely suggest to people who are new to doing swaps. All right, so first thing to do is untangle all these wires, because these wires are all tied together, some in an actual knot, not even kidding, and just lay them out and just figure out what's what. And then from there, I can figure out what I need, what I can get rid of, and what I need to just tuck out of the way for later. But also, label wires, always label wires. It helps you so much. I mean, you can just look at the plug. You don't have to know, oh, that plug right there, that's that. you don't know too much about wiring, something that is nice if you can't figure out what plugs are, I know what these are, for example, but the headlight wires. If you look to see how the wires lay in the engine bay, then it'll point roughly to where it's at. So you can see both the headlight wires are unplugged and they're both just staying right by their socket. Same with, if you come over here, there's this super long wire. You don't know what that is. Well, you can kind of just lay it out wherever to figure it out. So yeah, technically it could plug into something over here, but with a wire this long, you're able to assume that it's supposed to go in the hood to the wiper, the windshield washer nozzles, and you can tell because the distance that the plugs are apart. So that's just like an easy way if you don't know what the wires are or where they go. Also, make sure you unplug your battery whenever you do something like this, because if you come over here, look at all of these cut wires. So you could easily electrocute yourself when you're working on something like that. But I have everything pulled out of the way. Engine bay is already a lot less cluttered. So now it's time to go through, reroute everything nice and figure out what goes where. And also get rid of these wires running through here. And I'll get a different hose for the future. This is exactly why you should always keep spare plugs if you have. Someone broke the connector off of here. Just jammed this shit in there. I mean, yeah, it works, but it's not a good solution. So luckily I think I have an extra plug, so I'm gonna splice that into here and make sure it works. But if you ever have to do something like that, pay attention to which wire goes where, so you don't have to chase that issue going afterwards. So I always like to take a picture, or now I'm taking a video, and just look at which color wire goes where. So that looks like it's white with purple, and that goes up here. Brown wire goes here, blue and green wire goes to the bottom. So I'm gonna hopefully repin that or splice them together so that I don't have this janky mess anymore. Just went through this side. It's crazy what a little bit of electrical tape, some zip ties will really do. Use the factory clips to put this back in place. Tucked it up under here with these. These are the best things ever. They're little cable tie mounts. They use 3M on the back. Right there. Got them on Amazon. 100 for, I don't know, not a whole lot. But as you can see, that does a whole lot different. I tucked it up underneath. And tucked the wires. Tuck the wires up where they need to be. Yeah, definitely a big difference. Now time to tackle this side, which shouldn't be too bad, but hopefully I can get this to look just as nice. All right, and here's the other side. I did pretty much the same. I tucked the harness up here underneath, but all those wires that were coming out from there across, I don't need at the moment, so I wrapped them up, tucked them there under the battery box so that they're still all there if I need them in the future, but they're out of the way. I mean, look how much that did to that engine bay. I mean, it's a huge difference. I mean, it's still dirty. That's the next step, to actually clean it, but I mean, there's no more clutter, and where everything's at, it's still accessible. I can still reach everything that I need, no problem. It's just tucked out of the way. And over here, I just tuck the stuff up in there. Now, when it comes to cleaning up your engine bay like this, the big thing is really just take your time and figure out what each system is. That's what I did. I figured out what all of the plugs were, what I needed, what I didn't need, what I wanted to keep, and everything I needed to keep, I just tucked out of the way. Zip ties are your best friend when doing this. So now I have a nice, neat engine bay. I know what everything is. And the bay looks a lot better because there's less clutter. so there's a lot less to worry about. So the engine bay is coming out a lot better. I'm really liking how it's turning out. So that's it for this video. I'm going to end it here. Like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll get some more stuff out here soon. Later.